and welcome. You're watching NewsX and we are talking about fresh violence that has struck Manipur. Now, fresh violence has been reported in some of the hill districts of Manipur. This is a small village called Mulam, and again it has raised fears of a widespread unrest. Now, remember that this was an attack that took place in Mulam, or Songpal Mulam, this is the village's name, in Ukhrul district of Manipur. And what has happened is this attack has in fact left 2 civilians dead. And there are several people who have been injured. So let's look at what is actually happening. This comes right after we saw Manipur actually, facing unrest and facing a lot of shutdowns because we lost the lives of 2 innocent children in an explosive attack. But now we are talking about armed assailants actually targeting a village. And this is in the hill district. So what's happened? Let's look at some of the local accounts. Let's look at what witnesses are in fact talking about. They said that they were armed assailants who actually entered the village pre-dawn. This is around 5:30 a.m. on April 24th. And after they entered the village, they started off with indiscriminate firing. And mind you, viewers, that apart from the indiscriminate firing, what happened was that they also set the houses in the village on fire. So these are 2 types of violent incidents that has occurred in Mulam village. We saw indiscriminate firing, which left, unfortunately, 2 civilians dead and several people injured. And it is also, in fact, then there was destruction of residential homes over there. So now village volunteers actually tried to defend the area during the assault, but unfortunately that the situation or the violence escalated. Now, the village authority of Mulam have described the attack as a deliberate targeting of civilians. And they have called, obviously, for urgent security intervention. Now, since 2 civilians were also killed, there were, in fact, women who sustained serious injuries because of this incident. Now, remember that there were tensions earlier as well in this village. On April 19th and April 21st, armed men allegedly fired blank shots at the farmers and then confronted the local youths. This created sort of a fear, and it also disrupted normal activities. Remember that this comes amid all the shutdown calls, amid all the violence that the state is also seeing. And this is a cycle of incidents that are across Manipur. On April 7th, let's talk about that tragic incident where an explosion or a rocket attack actually hit a home in Ronglaubi along in Bishnupur district. And it unfortunately killed 2 young innocent children. And the mother also was critically injured, and she's undergoing treatment in a hospital. This incident actually triggered a lot of protests across the Imphal Valley, during which a CRPF camp was also reportedly attacked and vehicles were set on fire. Now, the security forces obviously tried to contain the situation. We are also getting reports of how they're trying to maintain peace and calm between all the communities over there. And they are also investigating as to how such armed incidents of violence are actually taking place, because we are talking about rocket attacks, sophisticated weapons being used. We are talking about indiscriminate firing like in the Mulam village. And this has caused a lot of injury to civilians and also, unfortunately, the death of civilians. Apart from this, there are curfews in place, there are internet suspensions in place, and there is also restriction of movement that we are talking about. And remember that this restriction of movement is also happening on the highways. It's all happening on the roads where there are protests. So the police and the authorities over there are trying to control the situation. Now, there are in fact around 7 deaths that have been linked to the subsequent unrest. And tensions have further escalated since April 18th, when in fact there were people who attacked vehicles on the National Highway 202 in Ukhrul district. This also in fact killed 2 civilians including a retired Indian Army soldier and a 42-year-old local resident. So there are obviously a joint protests by different communities as well in Manipur, and a 3-day shutdown call has also been announced in some of the hill districts. Now, when we are talking about Manipur, obviously these kinds of violent incidents have been reported over the past month, and it is again gaining traction even though there was peace earlier. That's all on this video of Manipur. We'll get you the latest updates.